Oof, wow. Hey, Mugambi. Mugambi is one of our panelists today. And again, just based on what you have seen, the little bits that you have seen over there, that's a trailer, of a film made by Mugambi, who is here on set. It's in relation to gender-based violence, and we're looking at the 16 days of gender-based violence. And the theme actually this year is Unite to end digital gender-based violence against all women and girls. And my panel is already here. Today is the last day, okay? It is the 10th, and of course it marks the end of, the 16 days of activism. And we're looking at fine. So what exactly is the sole responsibility as far as the society is concerned? Because majority of the times we look at, hey, what is UN Women doing? What is the government doing? What is the police doing? But really, rarely do we ask ourselves, what can I do to end violence? And this is against, women and girls, but really end gender-based violence in general. Okay, so that is what we want to focus on the conversation today, right here on your world. So stick around until the end of the show. We have 2 hours to discuss this. Okay, so we have enough time, more than enough time, if you ask me, to have this very important conversation. Let me just introduce my guests this morning. Like I said, they're already here, and based on what we have seen, you can clearly tell how important the conversation is this morning. Okay, so I'm going to start on my immediate left, and joining us this morning, we have McKenna Matthew, who is a program analyst ending violence against women and girls from UN Women East and Southern Africa. Good to see you, Karibu Sana. You got the memo, as far as dressing orange, the color of right. Yes, so thank you for making the time and lighting up our studio this morning. And then next to McKenna, we have Mugambi Nthiga, who's the actor and filmmaker as well as a storyteller. And based on what we've seen, the little trailer, he'll tell us more on the same. Thank you so much, Mugambi, using your voice as an actor and a filmmaker as well to contribute towards ending gender-based violence. So thank you so much. And we also have Evelyn Kasina, who is a trust and safety and child online safety professional, as well as CEO of Ivminet Limited. Bas, thank you so much.
Thank you for getting it right on your first take.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. And we're also waiting for Sylvia. Sylvia is not a new face. She's been here before. Sylvia Minor is a regional gender statistics communications specialist from UN Women East and Southern Africa. She'll be joining us in just a few. But McKenna, can we just first of all take stock of the day? And I know lots of people are like, hey, your clip, we want to know about it. So we'll involve Mugambi in just a second. But really understanding the 16 days. And because we talked about it the other time when we were discussing this, and we said, this is a conversation that doesn't need to happen only on the 16 days, but we need to have it every single day on our WhatsApp groups, in our chamas, our dinner table, when we're going to meet our friends. This is a conversation that we should have every single time. But really for the 16 days, can we just talk about the importance of this 16 days, where we are at now, and especially when we're talking about digital violence, because there's some things that people say, but you see violence.
Exactly. Thank you so much. And the 16 days was actually set aside globally to just have that time to activate, to just do activism on ending gender-based violence, because gender-based violence does happen in all our spaces, in our home spaces, in our social spaces, in community spaces, even in our workspaces sometimes, and more so now. The campaign this year is on ending digital violence against women and girls, for reason that almost everybody has now gone online, and we've moved what is happening in the physical to the online spaces. So we campaign 16 days, but we action 365 days of the year.
Right? Yes. Really do need that. Really do need that. And a lot of the times there's a lot of conversations about what can I do, in my own little space? Because the thing about gender-based violence, it doesn't choose. It doesn't have a specific class that, this will happen to a specific group of people or a specific class of people. True. Anybody can be affected by the same. So really, when we're talking about these conversations and the impact that it can have, a lot of people would ask, what can I do? And especially in the digital spaces.
Exactly. And it's just that one text that you send, is that one text that you forward, is those images you forward that you wouldn't be happy if it was about you being, your images circulating online, that's many times, and don't have context. the image owner, or rather the image being displayed, the person hasn't given consent, and that is what doxing is all about. And it's about conversations that are demeaning, and we're having videos recorded and just circulating about other people, and because that has an emotional or psychological impact on them. It's about picking pictures, and we've done, let me just own up, I think in this region we've become very good, especially around political leaders, and we see more so with women leaders. We take their faces and we can even put nakedness on those faces, and we circulate them, and we write unprintable things on those things, and we keep recirculating, and even send, if it's your leader, you even send to their family members, and you forget about this woman leader as a family, this woman leader as a space, this woman leader as people they are leading. This girl is a girl in school who needs to be protected for the first time, for heaven's sake, is a child. And that has a psychological impact. So we can do something from our spaces, from what we do online, from the spaces we work, the places we worship, the places we go to shop. And when you see it, name it, call it out, and do something about it.
I like that.
Link people up with referral services, because I'm sure we'll talk about referral services in the course of the conversation. But you can't just sit quiet and just allow gender-based violence to continue happening because it wasn't you.
Yes, I see that. Like we said, it can be tomorrow. Today, tomorrow, it could be you. And Mugambi, just to first of all, just take us through what we saw a little bit, and also how you're using your voice to speak against gender-based violence of whichever form, digital or not.
Yes. So what you saw was two videos. One of them was me calling the actresses that would end up on the play Free Me. Free Me was put on time at this time of the year.
It's a lot of things happening.
Yeah, it's so much. But towards last week, part one, on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Free Me is a play that is based on the real-life experience of the play's producer, Gathoni Kimoyo, who was in a very abusive marriage, one that she says took her to the edge of her grave, like she had one foot in the grave. And when she gets into the details of how the violence manifested, it is quite terrifying. And she did the very brave thing of wanting to put her story out there. And so she approached me to direct the story. It was written by Masi Mutisia Saumu Kombo, based on a story that she had shared with a blogger called Magunga Williams. From that, we adapted what ended up being the play. What we wanted to do, and that goes to the second video, was have 5 ladies play the same person at various stages of her life. And because we didn't want to put that burden on one actress, what we ended up doing was putting up the setup of the play really is that every time she went through something traumatic or something traumatizing, that should kind of like split and become another character. Because that's disassociation. You actually have to form a persona that's strong enough to deal with the things. And it ended up being the 5 Gathonis who tell her story.
Interesting. And I'm getting chills just listening to that. Because when you say she was at the brink, of her grief based on what she has gone through, and to be able to narrate that, sort of like relieve that, and now being able to see it in a film. I wish she was here to just help us understand what that is like, for them. But there's something that you said, that she's been courageous to share that part of her life, because a lot of the times people do not want anybody to know, what is going on. If anything, una feature nyumba, you're trying to protect, all those things that is happening to you. Can we talk about the power then of speaking out?
Even
and it doesn't matter.
I wanted to just interject and just bring this conversation. If one person's violence has been played out by 5 people, and it's having an impact or even triggering something inside 5 people, what does that mean happening to one person? We have to ask ourselves, happening to one person. And what part are we playing then? He is using art to try and communicate. He is using life experiences to try and bring it to the fore. But then going back to the question you asked, what can we do using our voices? You use your voice in media to try and air it out there for people to know what is all this about. And gender-based violence is not about women all the time. It's about men. It's gender. It's all genders, including those ones sometimes people fear from mentioning because you don't want to be labeled. And those are the most marginalized, most left out. If you check out, more than 70% of like LGBT people, they are affected by digital violence. at a higher rate than the rest of us, which is around 50%. Wow. So back to the conversation. But yes.
Yeah. Really, theatre is a powerful medium. These events that are portrayed in the play start from about 17, 18 years ago, going up to 15 years ago, when she left the marriage.
Okay.
And I mean, it takes 15 years for you to gather up the courage to now put it up on a play.
Yeah.
But she had started speaking about it from years back, which is why she ended up speaking with the blogger Magunga Williams. So she had recognized, and we've made plays together, that perhaps the most powerful medium that you can use is theatre. Theatre is live. You can see it on there.
Yeah.
You can feel it. It's very, very organic. There's instant feedback. And putting the play together was not easy.
Yeah.
We had to find a way where we'd find the balance between showing the stark reality of what gender-based violence looks like, but also bring the audience in and not push them and make them averted to what we're putting on.
Yeah.
So that was the process with the very kind support of Gathoni. I mean, she really threw her all into this and trusted me fully.
Yeah.
And then we found 5 phenomenal actresses who are willing to put it together.
Yeah.
We saw that there was almost an instant reaction. For one, even before we started, her ex-husband actually started issuing threats to her. Yeah, threats started coming out, and some terrible things were going on digitally.
Yeah.
That were, sending people to badmouth her and do all of these things. And she carried on. She even went to the extent of saying, as I prepare this play, I want you to know that my life is in danger. So if anything happens, you'll know why it happened. Yes.
Yeah.
And actually, let me just say, today is the International Day of Human Rights, and we do appreciate and celebrate them, the human rights defenders. And just to say that when you go out there and you want to share your life experience, it starts again. It's likely to start a whole journey, like you shared, and it doesn't stop us. But then on the other side, that's when we bring in the essential services and the support, the psychosocial support and everything else, because GBV, it's very complex.
It is.
It's very complex.
Yeah.
So in terms of what we can do, I like the activism through activism, that we call it. And it's working. It's working.
Yeah, I see that. Is she watching? Is
I hope so.
I really hope that she's watching. Right? And for us to just say thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for really allowing us into sort of like your life and using your story to, really amplify the fight against gender-based violence. So we say really thank you for the courage and, to let us into your world. Evelyn, can we first of all talk about online space? What it looks like, how it looks like, and then when we're looking at safety, okay? How safe can we be? Online? Because a lot of people say, by the fact that you are online, it means you've put yourself out there. So do not blame anyone when you're being attacked, which is just wrong, but that is the reality.
I think for most of us, and I say, of course, this with a lot of love, adults, we are firefighters. I think we walk around with fire extinguishers in our back, just going looking out for the fire, which is okay because that's where we find ourselves. Yeah. And what we are trying to do is also just first bringing children into the space, because my work is actually child online safety, right? And a lot of that is first to create awareness and give children agency, because unlike all of us here, I think we got onto the internet when we were a little older. Now they come in even way before the prescribed age, which is 13.
Or even before they are born, they have they have accounts.
Yes, and even without talking about the gender-based violence, even the trolling that happens by proxy, because maybe I'm a mother who has put my child out there, somebody doesn't like me, so they troll my child because they don't like me, right? And I think for us with the 16 days, what we decided to do is to just tweak the theme just a little, is we are uniting to create safe spaces for children, so that then when they are participating in it, and we are doing polls around the time, creating content, is for us asking them, do you actually feel safe when you're on these platforms, so that they give us feedback. And there's a time we did, I think last Friday we did a webinar where we had a Gen Alpha in the webinar. And some of the prompting questions were, what would you like adults to do? But she ended up telling us, like, of course, what you would want adults to do, in the sense that before you react, ask us. before you go fight our battles, allow us to also try and build resilience in terms of the resilience of conflict resolution. Because sometimes a child will tell you, I'm being harassed, but then because it's a group of friends, I want to be able to see how I can resolve this within my space. If it gets out of hand, of course, I will ask the adults within my space. But then just having parents first breathe and chill, because it is their space which we might not really understand. But the other thing that was very, very interesting was she said, not all spaces are bad, but the people who actually make spaces, how did she put it? The perpetrators who bring this, make the spaces unhealthy for us should be put into account, which I think then this is what we should be doing, right? Because as adults, we are on the forefront of receiving all that backlash. So imagine when we are bullying people on X, because that happens a lot, right? Children are getting onto that platform. They see us having that bad manners. What will happen? It will be the norm. That they feel like for us to be able to have any discourse, we have to abuse each other, we have to cut each other down. So we are not even modeling what we want to see ourselves. And that's what the push is. So we were bringing awareness, creating it, but showing it in the sense that children also have agency, and they're using the same internet. You've asked how the internet is. It's a salad bowl. It's a salad bowl. It has different fruits, it has different vegetables, and depending on how you want to consume it, that's what you will get. So for us, I think the honors is to ensure that first the platforms, they're safe, generally, you know. I work with big tech companies. I'm a safety partner with Meta, TikTok, and Google. And my work is really to create safe spaces for children. So by and large, tech companies are being pushed to create safe spaces. But who brings the bad manners?
It's us.
It's us. So I think it's the honors is to first pause and ask ourselves, then what do we really want to see? Because I think, as he said, it took 15 years for somebody's story to be said. It's not that she didn't want to say it. First, there was the courage, but also the platform. But once the platform was found, in theater, then we've put it on social media. So the people who are not able to be in theater are able to consume that content, interact with it, have the impact on social media. Then decide how they want that information to impact their lives. So I think we have a big space where I feel like there's a lot of positive that happens, but there are certain bad actors who make the salad bowl look unpalatable. But I think as the more we are having conversations, the more we are even having 16 days. I agree that, you know, it shouldn't just be 16 days, but I feel privileged that there are 16 days that were set aside just for that, set aside. And then we should make enough noise after the 16 days, prior to the 16 days, and then, you know, continue having the discussion around the episode. So not just for victims, we need to have survivors, but also now ensuring that the people who are getting into the space feel, you know, my voice needs to be heard. I don't want to be trolled over it. Because now we have introduced tech generated, right? So people who are being trolled outside the internet, now the trolling has gone online. It becomes 10 times worse. And I think that's not a very good space to find ourselves
in. It really isn't. It really isn't. And you know what? It's interesting what you're saying, that now the kids say, listen, take a chill pill, just relax a little bit. Let me try and handle this, right? Like every single time a child comes and reports to you, it's not like they want you to act reactively. They want you to listen, first of all, and probably allow them that. I'm just thinking, what is that kind of a parent who will be like, hey, Sawa, you deal with it. Let me know. I wonder, Sylvia, you have 2 boys. I do not want to believe until your boys will be like, Mom, this and this and this happened. Then you're like, okay, fine. So what do you need me to support? No, you'll be like guns blazing. No, but that's true. You see, the thing is also understanding different generations and how they want to leave their space. We millennials, Gen X's, we got into the internet when we were older, as I said. For them, they feel like this is the space we were born into. So it is our space. The rules are kind of different. And of course, even in class, we would tell them, and even as parents, of course, when I'm allowing you the privilege to be online, it's a privilege, let's agree. It's a privilege. When you're being allowed for the privilege to be online, of course I have my fears, and then I have my expectations. I see that. And expectation will be when something happens, come and say. Then I'm expecting myself to breathe. And I think that's what parents need to do. First breathe. Chill. Before you react. I see that. Listen, it's that's a whole debate, because there's should kids first of all be, you know, on the internet or not? It's a whole debate. Simply, I do not want to rush you into all those things, because we need to pay our bills, right? And then we'll when we come back, you know, do we even have data? Because we've seen over time that digital violence, you know, has risen over time. So do we have that data, and what exactly, how do we interpret this data, and what exactly does it tell us, you know, as a people of the different generations that she's talking about? But before that, we're taking a break. But remember, the question that we're asking you this morning is, what is one GBV myth that you wish, you wish would end today? Okay, what is that one GBV myth that you wish would end today? That is the question that we're asking you this morning. Engage with us at NTV Kenya across all board on our WhatsApp number, as well as give us a call. We're live. Okay, there's so much to come on the other side. Do stay with us. Welcome back to the show. 34 minutes past the hour, and on the second part of the conversation, we're talking about 60 days of activism, and today is actually the last day, which coincides with Human Rights Day today, and we're looking at the role that we can play as individuals. Forget organizations, you know, NGOs, GAVAs, all those people, they're important, okay? But then again, at an individual level, what can we do to put an end to gender-based violence? And like we said, gender-based violence does not mean just women and girls, okay? Gender it cuts across. Even the men, you know, also experience some forms of violence, but we're seeing a lot of impact on women and girls. So what is it that we can do to end it? And the question that we're asking you this morning is very simple, and that is, what is that one myth about gender-based violence would you wish to end today? Not tomorrow or like in 5 years to come, no, but today, okay? We'll be looking at your feedback in just a second. But Sylvia, just to engage you, now, so digital violence on the rise. Do we have data? What exactly does the data tell us? How do we interpret these numbers?
Yeah, great. I love the conversation so far, especially what Evelyn is saying as well in terms of how do we keep our children safe. Yeah. But what is a bit disturbing is, first of all, that already women and girls are not safe in their homes. Yeah, and we've established this because a lot of the violence that we see meted against women and girls is actually intimate partner violence or family violence, right? It's a huge percentage, it's the majority. So over and above that, even online now, women and girls are not safe. So again, we'll keep asking, where are we safe? In whose hands are we safe? You know, to use the cliche that Kenyans like to use. And what's disturbing is that there's already a digital divide, right? So already women and girls were being left behind in several parameters as far as economic empowerment, being overburdened with unpaid care and domestic work and things like that. But now, even when there are opportunities like technology, which has really a very big role in terms of accelerating progress for everyone, for society, we find women and girls are marginalized already just for lack of access. And then over and above that, they are pushed off the internet because of this kind of violence. And it affects grown-ups as well. I mean, you see, if parliamentarians across the world, I think it's 33% of parliamentarians across the world have actually, women parliamentarians have suffered from even death threats, right? And this is the latest data we have as of this year. Yeah, and in Africa, we find that number is even higher. It's 46%, right? So already, it's bad enough that children are not safe, but that grown-ups are not safe. But how much more in danger are children if adults who are in public leadership actually feel bullied and pushed off the internet with even death threats and their families being threatened. So that's an issue we really need to address. So as far as further data, I think we notice that even in areas of crisis, girls are, I think, up to 20%. It's like a fifth. If men and boys are online like 10%, let's say, girls and women are online 2%. Yeah, so in those crisis situations, they're even more marginalized. So this again is putting women and girls at risk of being further left behind, because we know the world is digital. If you're not online, you're nowhere actually. Isn't it? If you're not online, where are you even, right? Because I mean, we're doing everything online nowadays, classes, banking. Who was in a banking hall recently? Yeah, I recently had to go to a banking hall, and I had to ask the guy, have I filled out the form properly? Because I don't know. I really don't know. We are not doing this anymore. So if we can't be safe online, it means we are being even more marginalized and being forced to miss out on many economic opportunities, education opportunities, leadership, and also knowledge. Because of course we know the one who knows more kind of holds all the cards. Right? So if you're kept in the dark, you have little information, it really means then that there's no way you're going to compete in the marketplace, there's no way you're going to compete education-wise. People are doing degrees online with Harvard and other universities that we would only have dreamed of in our time as Gen X's. But now if women and girls don't feel safe in those spaces, what does that really mean? Yeah, so they've kind of been monopolized, and it's really an issue of online GBV. And again, we want to emphasize that it's a human rights violation. Yeah, and again, today being World Human Rights Day, I think we can't overstate that. And I don't know, I'm not part of the audience to answer what myth do we want to bring down today, but one of the myths I would want to bring down today if I was asked is that GBV is harmless or GBV is part of life. It is not part of life. It has, especially in the tech world, and any civilized society should not have any room for GBV. And online you find the more we tolerate it, the more it's perpetuated. And it's also very similar to what Evelyn was saying. Monkey see, monkey do. Right? So if children see us hurling insults and really trolling people and bringing them down online, how else would we expect them to handle the online space? And I think some of the things that are very concerning is the fact that online GBV is perceived as something that just really starts and ends online. It doesn't. And all the data we have globally, regionally, even in Kenya, shows that it spills over. I keep saying I'm a fan of murder mysteries, especially because of the true crime element. I'm fascinated by, let me say, the human condition. So last weekend I was watching a murder mystery that was put up recently on one of the Kenyan channels, and it was talking about a murder that took place in 2024, last year, November, of a girl. She was actually in Mount Kenya University in Thika, and she got in touch with this person who she's never met in person, an older gentleman, and they were communicating online. He started sending her gifts, a phone. I remember they even said he sent her a phone worth 11,000. He would send money, he would send groceries, and so he invited her all the way to Nakuru, crossing several counties, obviously, to go and visit. So she went, she waited for him, etc, etc. Eventually they met. That's the last time she was seen alive. And the case is still open. They haven't even found the person, but her body was found in a thicket somewhere. But you see, it started online with her being groomed, right? She didn't just wake up and decide, let me go to Nakuru and say hello to whoever I'll meet there. You know, she was captured online. So how do we really also, and I'm really keen to hear what Evelyn may have to say about this, how do we really educate young women and girls? Because it's not even so much children, it's young women and girls in university, and we're seeing this a lot, who are increasingly ensnared. In fact, I think that's the word. And for me, it surprises me because I thought they know much more than us, especially having been born into the digital space. But I feel like there's a kind of casualness that we're also kind of taking it in general. But I really am grateful that this year the TFGBV focus, the technology facilitated GBV, or technology facilitated VAUG, as they call it sometimes, violence against women and girls, is really getting the spotlight, because it's one of those areas that's outpacing laws, right? The laws are not moving fast enough to keep up with tech developments. If you look at things like deep faking, when I was here last time, I think we were talking about how more than 90% of all the deep fakes that are done are really about sexualizing, and not just women, but sexualizing. So we keep saying, yes, GBV is men and women. We are not refusing. I will forever say that we are not refusing. But if we look at the data, what does the data tell us? It's women who are disproportionately affected, and I think that's indisputable. And it's interesting that it's not just Kenya's official data, like Kenya National Bureau of Statistics data that's showing that. Before they ask who validated this data, where did you get it, you know? I mean, it's official statistics. Before we even start with UN Women said, UNFPA said, and all the others. Even the governments acknowledge it.
It's a problem.
Yes, it is. 25% of parliaments globally actually acknowledge that they've seen a pushback in the past few years, a pushback on gains in gender equality and women's empowerment. It's not just a Kenya-centric thing. And again, we keep talking about things like the manosphere. I still feel like that plays quite a big role in kind of indoctrinating. Actually, that is the word. I've been looking for that word. Indoctrinating. I've been looking for weeks, maybe even months. It's indoctrinating young men into what is really acceptable and what is not. And we really want to say that that's why we say there's no excuse. There's no excuse for online violence, no excuse for GBV against either men or women. And we really just need to make it stop.
I see that. Let's play this clip from Baraza Media Lab, and then when we come back, we'll really unpack more on this. I mean, especially for our young girls as well, and especially those ones who are under the age of 18, because we've seen these cases happening where, a guy says, hey, you look nice, you know, and then the attack sort of like starts in a very subtle way that they wouldn't actually pick it as an attack, or this person is trying to lure them into something. So then how do we make sure that it's safe? Do we, you know, stop our kids from accessing online? But then again, they were born into it's a lot. But let's watch this clip and then we'll come back and unpack.
Of showing like victims or survivors of GBV, that you can actually make it and you can actually come out of it alive.
Thank you for always coming through and for honoring the invitation. I love you guys. And how you be nice.
Yay. Okay, so the first clip was you calling them, but now we get to see them.
Yes.
Can we take a look at the process behind it in terms of like the selection process? Because I know we watched you saying, yeah, I watched the audition clip and this was it. So what is it that you were looking for to really bring out this story that is very, very powerful?
Wow, okay. For one, we were looking for talent we haven't seen on stage.
Okay.
Like I said, Gathoni and I have worked on a number of productions. I think the one that is most well known was the play on Mboya, 12 for Birds Mboya. And that had veterans. And the reason it had veterans was because we had very short time to rehearse and very short time to do casting. So I kind of handpicked. But for this one, we actually opened it up to people, said that this is an all-girl cast. And throw your hat in the ring. And we were really hoping we'd get auditions from young performers, and we did.
Yeah.
So, for instance, the girls that play Gathoni 1 and 2 are 20 and 21. Oh. Yeah, that's the absolute youngest I've worked with on a stage. Okay. And we were also looking for some form of similarity between them, so it would be believable that you're just encountering the same person at different stages of their life.
Yes.
And of course, because we knew that the material was going to be heavy and that we had to portray it truthfully, that they were willing to go there. And I don't mean going to the dark places and, portraying, horror and all of that. No, it was more, can you really open up to the audience so that you can invite them into your experience and have your experience be their experience? Because we knew there was going to be people in the audience that have gone through it.
Yeah. I mean, and sometimes that can be like a really tight balance, because again, there's the reality of what happened, there's the reality of what they experienced, but then again, there's also the side of not wanting to trigger, and especially when it comes to so then how do you balance that? Because we want to see it as raw as it can come, to really sort of just remind us that, listen, this is what is happening, and we need to see it in its rawest, come up with English like that form, right? Yeah, but then balancing to make sure that you don't end up triggering the audience.
How do you balance it? That's the question. I am very passionate about drama work that deals with social issues. I've done plays on depression, on mental illness, on dementia, and then on social justice. And coming now to doing gender-based violence and intimate partner violence, there are some things we've learned from portraying difficult material on stage. One of the things is to always have support present. Yeah, it's always to have support there, always have someone outside there that's willing to have a conversation. So we got into a partnership with the Gender Violence Recovery Center, GVRC.
Yes.
They had counselors on standby. We had some lovely ladies who are part of what's called the Somatic Network of Kenya. They do somatic like healing. Nyambura, Werimo, Janet, very wonderful people who actually took the audience through an exercise before the play began.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So if you told them,
center you.
yes, exactly. So feel your feet on the ground, breathe in, breathe out. Find something in the room right now that if it gets too much, you can focus on it, so that it doesn't get overwhelming. Focus on it now, and we'd have them look around the room. If you'd come and there was no context, you don't know what was going on.
Like these people.
Like, what are these guys doing? But they would be looking around. Then you focus on, it can be a light, it can be the floor, the carpet, it can be a railing, it can be a seat, it can be someone else. But we'd always focus the attention back. And then we also made sure at the very beginning to let people know what they were coming in for. Many times when you prepare them, don't take the lights down, lights up, and boom, it's violence. No, let people know what they're coming in for. Take them through a few breaths, and then give a very clear content warning that acknowledges what they're about to see. The value of what they're about to see in a larger story, because you don't just want to contextualize the violence too. We're putting on a show. We're actually talking about an experience that someone went through. And while this is necessary for the story to be told, it might be disturbing or triggering for some people. So in that case, this is what you do.
I see that because I know for most directors they'll be like, we do not want to take away the aspect of surprise, but no, it's not a good idea. In all situations. Yeah, I see that. So again, to speak on, because we have two UN women people here. Majority of the times we usually talk about law, and you also just talked about law and how technology is actually outpacing the laws and whatnot. So then from your perspective as UN women and as SRO, what is it that you've seen, especially when it comes to the trends, when it comes to maybe the gaps that are there that we need to fill, gather or not? It needs to be filled.
Exactly. So you'll say in the region, and I think and a study that has been done across Africa for 50 countries, and with a interparliamentary group, I think for 50 countries only 19 of them have some law or policy actions that address tech-facilitated gender-based violence. But now this law, like Sylvia said, is the violence and the forms are growing faster than our legal reforms would normally be fixed through the legal reforms. So the issue then is, how do we manage laws, or even what we call essential services? And essential services, some of them do speak to some elements of law. It will be the justice system, it will be the police. How do we manage even support to response services that then does give a solution, but on the other side start working around the law? So it's not, there are serious gaps in terms of keeping up to date in terms of fixing digital violence that is happening, but some bits here and there's concern. There's a lot of work with especially civil society organizations, from awareness creation to actually just providing safe spaces, and also like one of my panelists said about also apart from just creating awareness, providing safe platforms and working with tech companies to also provide safe platforms. So accountability is not only legal, it is accountability aspect in terms of even the services, access to services. If I walk to a police station today and I've been digitally violated, I'm not sure how much support I'll get in terms of the person on the other side. And I'm not saying it's not there. It might be that some elements you'll find support, in other spaces you'll not find support. If I walk to maybe maybe a safe space and I've been digitally violated, it's not, it doesn't mean like I'm not going to have psychosocial kind of impact or something happening within my emotions. It's the same support system. I will need counseling and all. So that conversation about physical and online needs to happen, even matters law and matters of how much we can do within that space. So yeah, there is work to be done, and everyone has a role in terms of matters accountability in terms of policy, and even how we do programming. And more investment on prevention than response, so that there's less response.
Actually, just even to tie into what she's saying, which is very true, bad actors, we call them bad actors, so that we differentiate them from different things. They have become very sophisticated. How you and I portray us, I mean, people who are a bit older, millennials and Gen X's, how we portray grooming has really changed. I'll give an example of how a child playing a game would be groomed, for instance. Roblox is a very, very, very common game. I don't think in Kenya there's any parent who has not had it in one way or another. And the currency of trade on Roblox is called Robux. You have to use real money to buy fake money so that your children can interact with things online. There is a debate somewhere going on that Roblox is introducing children to e-commerce because they buy small things. I want to build a house, so I'm decorating my house. So you have to use real money to get the Robux. So somebody who's grooming a child would give them a few Robux so that now they can start buying things. When that Robux ends and they don't know where to get it, then they'll be like, okay, so share with me certain photos, videos of yourself, so that now we can trade. This child has already gotten the taste of Robux, and probably their parents cannot afford to buy them, or they don't even know what it is. So then at that point, they're vulnerable. The bad actor has tapped into their vulnerability. They want to continue gliding. It's called gliding or grinding. It's grinding. So they want to continue being in that space. So what will they do? They they'll be told, take a photo from chest up. For a girl, when they do that, their face shows, right? For a boy, probably not, right? This is not gender-based, it's for all children. So a girl will be told, take for me a naked photo, chest up. Obviously, their face will be seen. For the boy, you know, when they're told to do it from the trousers down, probably their face will be protected in that sense. Then now what happens when a child is now being blackmailed? If you don't send me this, then I'm going to start showing. That's where the violence starts coming. Tech facilitated, because you send this video voluntarily. I gave you Robux, so it's like we bought it, right? And then that is the gray area. The other thing, as she said, and I don't think the law anywhere will ever catch up with how technology is moving. I think for us, it's just to create maybe best practices that can be used, because a policy is available to just give you a framework. Then according to whichever industry you are, you can create best practices. So if it is in a school, if this policy dictates ABCD, then what can we do within the school to make sure that when children are in school, they're protected in this way? When children are in church, when they're at home and stuff like that. So that we are not always thinking about policy and law, because we will forever be in that space and we can't really catch up.
I see that.
But just also to add on to what Sylvia was saying, the Prime Minister of Italy a few weeks ago found her naked photos in a porn site. And yes, as she was addressing the media, she acknowledges that, of course, that was a deep fake. But what surprised me and what caught my attention when she was addressing the media is like, what will the younger people see of us? Because first, she's a woman leader. And somebody actually took her photos, generated them to porn and put them in a porn site. And people went there to retrieve and start distributing them in other platforms. So for her, she was really concerned on how will young people who want to aspire to be prime ministers, to be leaders, just even leaders in your own right in school, what will they see? And that is very concerning, because sometimes people don't even know how to differentiate an AI-generated pornographic video or gender violence video. They don't know, but they've already seen, because the first attraction is, oh my God, okay. And then what we are seeing now also with the kind of games they're interacting with, children especially, they're being desensitized to violence. Look at all the games they're playing. They're warlike. They have to shoot, they have to fight, they have to get into certain spaces with war, right? So what are we telling them? That if you don't fight, you can't move.
You can't,
That is desensitization. So now when we're talking about ending the violence, for a generation that has already been desensitized to it, they don't see a big deal. Then come to the adults who are making it funny. Like I think if
for you to attack someone, we need to see some
humor.
Aspect of violence. It's funny when you do jokes. No.
Exactly. And actually we say that. And it's, in fact, I don't even think the violence is more on the video or the content. It's on the comments.
On the comments.
Please go to the comments.
Right? Most of the time, by the way, you see that people say, "Wacha nikimbie a comment section alafu nikuje." Listen, it's the little things that we say that sometimes we think they're innocent, but really they aren't. Okay. And the question that we're asking you this morning is, what is that one GBV myth that you'd like to end today? Okay, when we come back from the break, we'll also look at your feedback, so do stay with us. There's so much to unpack, okay? But all that is coming up on the other side. Do stay with us. Welcome back to the show. We're officially in the afternoon, so thank you so much for staying with us. And just in case you're tuning in right now, today the focus is on 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, and we're looking at technology-facilitated gender-based violence. And of course, the day coincides. This is actually the last day, okay? But it coincides with World Human Rights Day, okay? And we're asking ourselves, first of all, as a society, do we even understand what technology-facilitated gender-based violence looks like, okay? Are there instances that we, as a people, have actually contributed to that? Because there's so many instances where we just point fingers and say, Nani did this, Nani did that. But are there instances that we have actually contributed towards technology-facilitated gender-based violence? And what is it that we need to see different, okay? And that is why we're asking you this morning, what is that one myth about gender-based violence that you would like to see end today, okay? What is it? We'll be looking at your feedback in just a second. But Evelyn, I'm just curious, because Australia is one of those countries, one of actually the first that has banned internet use or social media use for, right? As of today. Yes, as of today, for the under 16s, right? 16, so should we do that? Because we've also seen, our policies on cybersecurity and whatnot really coming up, and there's a lot of conversations around that. So should we sort of like emulate that to protect our kids, but also introduce like stricter meaner measures for those ones who are doing bad manners on the internet?
You know, I'm really curious how this week will pan out for parents in Australia, parents especially, because I think it is when that shutdown has been done for you to see how your child reacts. And there'll be different reactions, obviously.
No, there are some kids who actually reacted and said, listen, maybe I'm making videos about get ready with me and whatnot, and I'm making money.
And it's until now they can't access it.
Yes.
For some platforms, actually, they are holding your data until you attain age. Then when you attain the age, they will give you back your account. For some, it's just been deleted until then you can open. And I think that's the mixed reaction where I had created such a platform with so many viewers and whatever, and then all this data is lost.
Away from me,
So I think for parents, this particular week will be very heavy because the reactions will be different. I feel like also for us as practitioners, do we want to do it? For the 99% of children who don't know where the privacy settings are, they don't know, for instance, what violence is, it does help. But does it mean that children will not find a way? Children will find a way. Definitely they will circumvent whatever has been put in place. But I think for the majority of them, they'll be protected. The thing is, what are we protecting children for? So and that's why we have to have that grassroots. I think it's called sensitization. It has to start from below, from when they're really young. But the good thing is that what Australia is doing, it's setting a precedence. And I don't think just to ban them from being on social media, it is to allow them to grow, to have some maturity level. And I think that's what people are not seeing. They're seeing that you want to curtail freedom of speech, freedom of expression. Maybe that's not the point.
Into the internet,
they were born into the internet. That's not the it's social media. And you're not being told don't be on the internet. It's like AI. I keep telling my own children, by the time I'm allowing you to use AI to facilitate your homework, you have to have learned the actual skill of using your textbook. Like go to the dictionary and sound a word and get it, because you need that skill, right? As opposed to you telling Siri, give me this word, and I mean, what are you telling yourself? So I feel like there's a point that people are not getting. The decision that Australia used to get to this point was education and also medicine. Medical, it was medically proven, because look at what COVID did. We went into a global shutdown. And I think for most people, the easiest thing was to give children phones. But imagine for yourself, when you're during COVID and kids were in school for maybe 3-4 hours, what were they doing for the rest of the time? That's when so many things used to happen. Sometimes children are in class, somebody has hijacked the Zoom call, they are showing inappropriate content, teachers don't know what to do, the children don't know what to do, but they've already seen it. It's there rolling for even like 2-3 minutes before somebody takes action, right? So we need to be able to just first stop and ask ourselves, what are we able to introduce and at what levels? And I think that's what they're doing. It's that they are doing it so drastically, 16 below, you're not going to have until we come up with better measures. That is putting tech platforms in check, because then they have to ensure that the matrix of identifying that this is a child is there. They had brought this thing of facial recognition, but children are like, they would put a photo of their parents. So when it is asking them for the facial recognition,
mom, and then
they put the image. When they're being asked about age, they exaggerate. That is something children tell us all the time. Because they're like, when I'm on my mom's phone and I'm on TikTok, I access everything. When I create my own TikTok for a child, I don't have DM, I can't go live. This is kiddie. Because they've already experienced a different FYP. So they don't want the kiddie stuff. They're like, but I can control myself. But then, can you control what other people put online? That's the conversation. And I think before we react in such a way that we are saying this is bad, this is wrong, why are you letting children not be? No, let's ask ourselves, like, what is the end in mind? And I think that end in mind has to look at even campus. Because when we are working with young adults now, I can't tell a young adult to take 10-20 minutes online the way I would tell a child, right? But what is the difference between online safety for a young adult? It's their mental well-being. Are they being pushed to do things that they can't achieve? You know, this whole space where people are just so rich, they're showing good lives, it's detrimental to their health. So it is a little different for us bringing our children into that space until when they're young adults and saying, then I have my agency, this is what I'll be able to consume, this is what I can put out. Because also I think this violence, what we also don't see, even as parents, and here I'm speaking as a parent, we always say, I don't want my child to watch porn. Then we forget they can create it. Ooh. What is the next thing after they've watched? Somebody will tell them, because right now groomers are telling them, You do it like this, then send me. You do it like this, and then send me. They're creating. Yeah. They are creating, and that is not a conversation. I know. Now that is there. I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
There are more people in his space.
Yes, because that is now a conversation we have not even tapped into.
Yeah.
There is so much. I mean, go online and learn how to make ugali or something that maybe you've never bake a cake. There's so much you can watch until you decide, let me go and try it.
Yes.
Right? It will come out like this. That's what we are not seeing, because as again she said about grooming. Grooming has changed. It has lifted. By the time a child is being groomed online from a game, if you ask them what happened, they'll tell you that was not a stranger, because stranger danger doesn't exist anymore. No. That person took time to play with you, spent time with you. They asked you, you love green, orange, you live here. And it is in the subtle questions as they're playing. Can we create a server? And then they're, okay, so I can create a server and not be with my friends and talk to you privately. You're planting seeds, So you're sending me photos, okay, then I can actually show you how to do this and this and that. So that they're removing themselves from the part where I took a camera and projected it to you. Now I am coaching you on how to do it. So they'll start creating that content. And a lot of it actually would be us taking down content of self-generated. There's something called self-generated system content. Children are generating it themselves.
Hey,
yeah,
Sylvia, Mama Boys, how worried are you from a scale of 1 to 10?
1 to 10 or 1 to 10. I'm at, exactly at 110 on a scale of 1 to 10.
Yeah.
No, it's very concerning, because there's the other one, apart from Roblox and Minecraft, which is the other one that starts with Fortnite.
Fortnite is GTA.
Yes. So I mean, my younger son is huge on video games. Yeah. And these are conversations we've had to have. Even the whole playing on the server conversations. In fact, when you said server, I was like, you know, I like bristled. Yeah. And I'm always like, we need to see where you're playing. Like none of this locking myself in my bedroom. Because you also, you know, they like to play video games in the dark. Curtains closed. I don't know, your keyboard is glowing, your mouse is fancy. Exact ambience, very important. Exactly. But I mean, I'm like, you're not old enough for this ambience. Ambience, you'll find it later. You know, but it's extremely concerning, because even when you look at some of their conversations with their peers on Snapchat, and there's the other platform they're using, which I forever forget the name. It's like a WhatsApp, but you can't trace the
Telegram. No, it's
not Telegram, not Signal. There's another one.
Okay.
I'm forever forgetting the name of that one, but it's very concerning, because, and like you're saying, they always find ways to circumvent. It's easy to open an account with a different year of birth. That's not rocket science. As you're saying, it's easy to now even use the facial recognition. So how worried am I? I'm very worried, because again, the speed is lightning speed.
And even at that, remember what we talked about the last time we had this conversation, during actually the day, the start of the 16 days, and we said there's a lot of things that are actually happening in terms of the terms. You know, we talked about manosphere, we talked about the red pill and the blue pill, and this whole things, you know, that is happening now. So then how do we catch up? How do governments catch up? How do, like, your entities, say for example as UN Women, catch up you know, to that, so that we prevent other than being reactive to what is happening?
I think continual education is really important, which is really what you're doing here as well. And I really must laud NTV for this, because you guys have been, you know, like a dog with a bone. You're like, we're not letting go of this. So I'm very tenacious about a very uncomfortable, very controversial, and very unpopular subject. I mean, we saw some of the comments from our clips the last time, and there was a lot of trolling. Like, where did you get that data? We don't believe the data. I mean, even very personal comments. Look at that one, she looks drunk, you know, and it's like, really, where has that come from? Can you listen? Forget about the voice and how we look. Listen to the words. You know how in church, when someone has a bad singing voice, you say, listen to the words, forget about my bad voice. Huh? Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of that, but I think it's a lot of denial, like you said. So I think one of them is really just to educate and continue to be in people's ear, because I think the more we speak, we're also bringing a kind of counter, what do you call it, force, to the other bad guys force. What have you called them? The bad actors, right? The bad actors force. That's one. But also, I'm really, really happy to hear from Evelyn that, first of all, she's part of the 5 partners, I think, in Africa. One of only 5 partners in Africa that are responsible for safety on Meta, Google, and TikTok. And for us as UN Women, one of the things we've been saying we really need to do, apart from investing more in data, because the more we understand the issue, the more we can tackle it. Yeah, that's one. And again, the data is not being generated fast enough. Again, for the same reason the laws are not keeping up, because of the speed of movement, although now we're really catching up. And there's a lot of focus on that. But also, we've been insisting that we need tech companies to be held more to account. We've been singing this story, so I'm so happy to hear that actually Meta, Facebook, TikTok have even now identified their point persons in different contexts, saying that, listen, you'll be our eyes and ears on the ground. Also, you understand the nuances locally, you understand the cultural inferences which may be lost at a global scale, which is why a lot of this abuse may go unnoticed, even with the machine learning. Yeah, but another thing that I keep pointing out is we need to speak with men and boys, because, and why men and boys again, not because we are against men and boys. I'll keep reminding that I'm a mother of boys, and that is God's sense of humor. He was like, you will not be a feminist and also be a mother of girls. Yeah, he'll be like, I'll give you young men in your house, you know? But we need to continually speak with boys and change their mindsets, behavior change, communication. And one of the worrying data points is that I think only 10% of initiatives towards preventing GBV, I don't know if it's GBV or specifically TFGBV, I think it's GBV, are specifically targeted at men and boys. That's a very low percentage. Yeah? We need to work more and more with men and boys, and that's why I'm so pleased also to see the work that Mugambi is doing, and especially also in the art space. This is not an NGO problem, this is not a UN and international development agencies problem, it's not a government problem. I mean, the arts have such huge power, like they're so influential, and especially with this generation, I think, because like we've said, you'll have it on stage, but next we'll see it on YouTube, it'll be a clip on TikTok, it'll be, and we call that transmedia in communication, where we have gone beyond multimedia. Now we are going to having the same or similar content repurposed for different channels, but saying the same thing but in a different way. So I think it's really powerful to tap into the arts and culture, because it's also very subliminal. Right? So it speaks to someone without coming at them and saying, stop GBV.
Your face,
you know, it's like, see for yourself what you guys are doing out there looks like on the stage. And exactly, and you decide whether you want to be associated with this. So it convicts someone quite quietly. So I think those are some of the things we need to look at, but really also enlightening people with the information and continuing to speak about the data. And data is scary, because when you're confronted with numbers, you kind of have to stop, and really question yourself and say, am I not better than this?
And what role am I contributing towards this data? Because sometimes we take ourselves away from the data and say, sometimes
you're part of the numbers.
Yes, you're part of the numbers.
The aspect of when the laws and the tech companies are developing maybe security systems, there's a bit of also engaging women rights organizations and feminist organizations. And I insist feminist, and I say in this space proudly so, because feminism and feminism leadership is not about women. It's about way of transformative change, that we seek to do things differently and stepping into spaces of that are delineating human rights and saying, we can do it this way to make it better this way. And part of it is also, when you're developing like those apps, engage the young people. Where is the African Divide Matters population? It's in the young people. Where are the young people most of the time? They're online. Engage them even to develop apps that can link to even services that will help curb the issue. And for me, those are some of the solutions as well. But the very last is our social manners and attitudes. They start where at home. It's how you orient, even me, I'm a mother of 4 boys, by the way. It's how you teach mannerisms at home. It's the same mannerisms in public spaces. It's the same mannerisms you'll see online. In one of my religious cycles, there's this guy, and I'm sorry to say, he worked in media sometimes back, and he pushes so much manosphere, he doesn't know, but I've tried to say I was blocked. And I cannot comment on his stuff. And he pushes a lot of toxicity in terms of how he talks about patriarchy and patriarchal system. And that's what Sylvia is talking about, manosphere. And when you come out there and say, hey, you're my friend, you can't post this about women, you can't post this about marriage, you can't post this about, and you can see the kind of comments coming up, and you can guess the gender that is mainly happy about that kind of, and that's manosphere we are talking about. Change our attitudes, change our mannerisms from home, and then move those mannerisms down online. And when you see bad mannerism online, call them out.
Yeah.
They can't kill you because you said what you posted is wrong.
It's true. It's true. I hear that. And also you talked about helplines and do people even know that? Most of us just know 911. Let's know
911
movie, right?
I've only been given two,
oh, fantastic. Yes, we'll point that out before we end the show.
But from DCI and the 116, that's the child helpline, which is toll free.
Oh, good.
Yes, so
okay.
I want to put them out.
No, but we'll point them out even before we end the show. But Mugambi, I wanted to bring you in. Because again, as a man, and we always talk about male engagement and how we can come together, you know, men and women, to really put one voice as far as gender-based violence and say it doesn't matter whatever form it is wrong. So what impact have you seen so far from either the plays that you've put out and even just you, because through the play there's something that you're doing, you know, to create awareness as well. So can we talk about the impact that you have felt? Or maybe there's some people who are like, you know, whatever you've experienced, either, you know, on the other side.
I live with the constant fear that I'll be called out for simping.
Will protect you.
Yeah, for simping, yes.
Okay.
Yes. When you make gender wars a thing online and everything becomes an us versus them, then as a man, you're placed in a position where you're pressured to be on the side of your people. And to be on the other side, or you'll be told, oh, ayombu evil. Or we know what you're trying to do. You know, you're trying to endear yourself to the girls in this way. So you'll be called a simp, you'll be called a cuck, you know, whatever it is that people are putting out there, those whatever words.
I've not even heard that.
Yeah, same.
C-U-C-K.
What is that?
Okay.
Will Smith.
Google.
Yeah.
You will tell us
if you
off
imagine,
camera.
if you imagine Will Smith and Jada.
Okay. Okay.
Will Smith.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
basically an
That's-
oppressed man.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, someone that has given in to the pressure, to the feminine pressure, and decided that you're going to move within that path. So I like to pull stuff out back into real life. I'm very cautious. Many of the people that are online with me who are more popular than I am will be always like, oh, the online space is not real. But I'll be like, but what's being said online actually has an effect on what's happening in real life.
Yes.
It goes that way. So I will say that I have not had much from men. When I looked out, I would step out and invite people to the play. And when I would look out, it was largely women. I would put it at a conservative 80% of women, and 20%, I would even put it at 90%. So when you ask me this question at this point, you're asking me something that I've been contemplating a whole lot as to how is it that we can put out content that talks about suffering of people that are with us every day, of women that have autonomy of their own. They don't have to be someone's, actually it's one of the first lines of the play. They don't have to be someone's sister, someone's mother, someone's cousin, someone's friend. How about they're just a woman? And that's enough. How do I put content out that is not seen by the people that are responsible as warmongering? Because that's what I'm doing. I'm opening up a conversation and showing this is what the reality is for women. I personally have never had to watch what I dress in when I'm leaving the house. I've never had to send a live location because I don't trust the taxi driver. I've never had a man approach me and thought, do they want to abuse me sexually? But that should point out what my blind spots are. And I think what I ought to be doing and what I wish men would be doing is checking where their blind spots are. Because, okay, if your experience is something that I would never understand, why don't I first listen before I comment to actually address the myth, the myth that I think I would hate, I wish would end right now. It's if she was being abused, why did she not leave? Si ujitoe basi. So unatuleta online media like this.
Commonest lines we see.
And any form of victim blaming, what was she wearing? Did you provoke him? We have to hear both sides of this story. That is one of those that you hear all the time. And you're like, oh, why didn't you call the police? That's a good one. Why didn't you call the police? I'll be like, hey, my guy, if you've ever lost anything, you've like lost your phone, Did you call the, was that your first thing to do, to call the police?
Yes, that's the first
People seem to have such immense trust in the police when it comes to the suffering of women, yet they would never have it for themselves.
Yeah.
So all of these things that I'm saying in answer to your question, in that I'm not sure yet how it is that we can reach out yet.
Yeah.
So my plan, my little plan, is now to speak my story as a man in relation to women, and where my blind spots have been, and what the honesty is. And one of the things that I speak about is, if men are supposed to be the courageous ones, yes, we might be, but it's the women who have to exercise masculine courage every day.
Which is just sad, right?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Let's say that again. Yes.
That as much as I'm a man and I am the one who's supposed to be courageous, it is women who are going outside to exercise masculine courageousness every single day.
Think about that for a second, and how that must feel, and the weight, you know, that it has, which is just, And also some of the things that we've heard here on the show is why bring men to talk about issues of women? And I'm like, but we live with them, right? Exactly. They are brothers, they are dads, they are uncles. We cannot.
Landed on earth without being birthed by a woman. Actually, no one was brought by the stock. The stock story. We are not buying the stock
that we hear all the time.
So it, as in inatuhusu, just to put it in.
But we're in a patriarchal system that somehow, when you talk about masculinity and progressive masculinity, it's an issue because and I know I saw on social media the other day they said, oh, when they learned toxic masculinity and they learned about they used another word, there's nothing else the women are writing about and feminist. But I want to say that it has to do with our patriarchal system sometimes, which sometimes women promote the patriarchal masculinity that is not progressive. And when you talk about male allyship and male engagement, for me and for people who are doing programming and who are watching and they are doing male engagement, I do know at UN Women we are saying let's change it a bit, and we're saying after 5 years of study we've come to realize the game has to be done differently, how you do male allyship. And it's because the social norms change. And the social norms change moves from, it can't be at this level of, yes, church is good, religion is good, family is good. It has to move to a higher level of the market. And the market is the institution, is the media, it's the financial institutions, it's our ministries. Then it moves up at a higher level, at state level. So if you're talking about change and male engagement, and Kenya just have, I think they developed a male engagement policy or strategy the other day, it has to be from that level and trickle down. But a lot of us are stuck at the lower level, and that's why the change is not happening. Remember I called it social norms change strategy? It has to move, and I like the bit that we can all do what we can do, but the system has to be engaged from the top to the bottom.
I see that. Oh, wow. Hey, what's that? To take a break to work. Okay.
What Mugambi said needs to be on a billboard.
T-shirts. To wear the t-shirts after we walk around that t-shirt. Yeah. You've been tasked. You have been tasked.
A guy comes out strongly. He's told you're not attending the men's conference.
Yeah.
But you can't address the men's conference.
Let me tell you that thing. Listen, let's take a break, okay? And then when we come back, there's a lot. So, the question of the day, that is, what is that one myth about gender-based violence that you would like to end now, today, okay? So Amos Rotich on Facebook says that GBV is when a lady is assaulted, and then Issa Mecca who says GBV shouldn't be a women-only issue, and then another one says Derek San JJ who says the man is always right. That is one of the bits that I'd like to see end today. I really like that one. And then MJ Omondi War, says there's nothing like GBV, only violence. That needs to end like today. I really like that. And then Martin says it's discipline, not gender-based violence. That needs to end today. A lot more, which we'll go through before we end the show. But for now, watch our Tulipe Bills. We'll come back with more. Stay with us. Welcome back. Officially in the last few minutes of the conversation, but it's important, even as we mark the last day of 60 days of activism against gender-based violence, and also on a day that we're celebrating World Human Rights Day, is to ask ourselves, so then moving forward, right? What next? What sort of conversations do we need to have as far as gender-based violence? What is it that we need to see change? And what is it that we can do at an individual level really to contribute towards this change that we are talking about at a family level, community level, in our church, religious spaces as well? What is it that we need to see different, okay? And the question that we're asking you this morning is very simple. What is that one myth on gender-based violence do you want to see end today? Not tomorrow, not like in 5 years to come, today, okay? And then there's someone who says, Eric Mochemo, who says gender-based violence is a female word and it affects females only. That needs to end today. And then, okay, this is interesting that probably I'd like you guys to chime into. So this is Bariso, okay. They say gender-based violence will not end because the perpetrators are the ones crying the most. It's one-sided and it's going to be more physical than you think. I'll read it again. Gender-based violence will not end because the perpetrators are the one crying the most. It is one-sided and it is going to be more physical than you think. So think about it for a second. And then Sahara Wine, who says gender-based violence is when a woman is a victim. Even activists and media would make you believe so. Gender-based violence is when a woman is a victim. Even activists and media would make you believe so. I think they want to say that is one of the things that should end today, I hope. And then Dave, who says gender-based violence is not about women alone. So I think clearly this is one of the things, one of the biggest myths that is there, that gender-based violence is a women-only issue. But that is not what we're saying, okay? It's gender, okay? Cuts across. But we're seeing more impact on women and girls. But just to react to this one who says gender-based violence will not end because the perpetrators are the ones who are crying the most, and it is one-sided, and it's going to be more physical than you think. What do you guys think? Wow. Who wants to weigh in on the matter?
I can jump in, and that's just a classic example of the patriarchy pushing back. And there's something we've been saying since last year around this time. We're saying that, I mean, all this situation, I think this is the conversation we had in March, Winnie, about the numbers are daunting, but we are not. Daunted.
Yes. Oh, that is the
yes. You kept asking what was that I said. The numbers are daunting, but we are not daunted, and this is not the time to despair. We have heard that comment. We are also not very surprised. It's disheartening, but we continue to push forward because we know that whatever we normalize will continue. But what we're saying is we are not normalizing GBV, and the truth is the law is coming. The law is coming for, I don't know if I should say for you, or just the law is coming. I can leave it as the law is coming. And we find in the more progressive societies, it's not that, we had this conversation actually last night with Latif and other colleagues. It's not that they are less violent than we are on this side of the planet. It's just that the deterrents are high. Yes, the spotlight is too big. And when you do the cost benefit, you're like, maybe I would like to really hit this person, but what will it cost me? Then I'm like, how is my life right now? I actually like my life. It's nice. I get social security. My kids go to school for free. I have this health insurance or health that's covered for free by the government. Do I really want to jeopardize all that, you know? Then I'm like, actually, it's never that serious. I mean, I would love to hit that person, but let me not. So I think we will get to a place where we will actually make it taboo to be the perpetrator rather than the victim. And I was even saying, like, Rwanda have done this. Like, they have a name and shame that they do with the Rwanda Investigations Bureau, where they actually are naming, this one is known to be a wife beater, you know, and it's very embarrassing. How will you face your workmates? You know, so rather than the lady coming with a black eye and feeling she needs to put on makeup and wear shades, it's the man who's behind that black eye who is now having to hide. So I think let's just say that the law is going to catch up. We're progressing, we're moving forward, and this is not the first time we've also seen rollbacks or we've been in this position where we're really having to shout loudly and say stop it. Before Beijing, this is where we were. And there are many things we've seen, we've progressed post-Beijing, like maternal deaths, girls' education, women in public leadership. I keep saying that Rwanda is our poster child with the highest number of women representatives in parliament, 61% globally. And I mean, this is in the middle of Africa, you know, where we're not supposed to, quote unquote, have such kind of progressive thinking. So I think there's hope. There's a lot of hope. Again, this is why we wear orange. Yes, because orange is a color of hope. Yeah, this is not traffic stop of urgent. No, that's not what we're saying here. We're saying there's a lot of hope. Things will change. It won't be this way forever.
I like that. I really like that. Okay, so I see our time is far much spent. And the question that we're asking then is beyond the 16 days, beyond today. What next? What is it that we want to see different? What is it that we want, the conversations that we want to see different? And I'll take it in terms of the different spaces that you guys are in and just collectively as well. What is it that we'd like to see different?
So I think for me, two things, and one is to Mugambi. I think because I love working within the family unit. One of the things that he can do for us is to mainstream the art into these things we do in school. What are they called? The plays in school. The ones that they do every...
Drama festival?
Drama festival.
Yes.
So if children start competing from the zonals up to wherever, but that is the theme, I think when adults sit down and look at children acting out things that affect them, because if a woman is being beaten at home, it affects children.
It does.
It does.
It does.
We may not talk about it, but if he's able to mainstream that into school in that sense, I think we are creating awareness and breaking also the myths from a level that is progressive to everybody. Because again, maybe not everybody is online the way we would think people are online, right? And then for me as well, parents have to, from the family setup, we need to say we need to say to stop saying we are teaching and model. There's a difference. I can tell my child, you can't do, but I'm doing. Then I don't have the moral authority. And so I think for us, it's first to, I always keep saying introspect and do an inventory. The same way when I'm in class, I would tell parents, just think about all the digital enabled gadgets in your house and then count the number of toilets in your house. You would actually find you have more digital enabled gadgets in your home than you have toilets. That actually cuts across so many spaces. Which means that now we are bringing all these things at home and it's surpassing so many things. Go to any restaurant, the first thing people ask me, what password your Wi-Fi? And you're going to eat, which means that even though we wish technology away, it's literally a hopeless game. We can't wish it away. So for me, I think we need to stop saying we need to stop saying, we need to start doing. And then probably because technology is affecting children from when they are really, really young, we need to listen to them. Their perspectives, the places they're hanging out. Because I think even in the office, they were telling me to talk about apps that parents need to look out for. And I will tell you those ones. There's one called NLG. Not gonna lie, that's what it is called, NLG. And YOLO, these are anonymous apps. Leave alone Signal and Telegram where people can't take photos. These ones are anonymous. So you can imagine if there's any violence going on there, you actually don't know who is perpetrating the violence. You also don't know the victim. It's just an open market, right? Also, there are things that bad actors are using, and also people who are just creating tech. There's a vault. There are different vaults that people put on their phones. One that looks like a calculator, normal calculator. Another one looks like a watch. So the things that, oh, you know, my child doesn't do this, my child doesn't do that, my child doesn't access this, those things are put behind a vault. Because if a child is having a phone and you realize there are two calculators, you don't know why there are two calculators. But the last thing you'd actually wonder is why are there two calculators? It will not ring in your head.
If anything, say would
exactly. Yes. Yes, maybe they downloaded a scientific calculator for whatever reason. But the thing is to say that bad actors, again, have become so sophisticated. What we knew when we were young does not happen anymore. And they're trying to make sure that as they're grooming children, they're giving them opportunities to bypass all the parameters that we've put for safety. All of them they're bypassing. So be a bit more vigilant, but seek to understand where your child is so that they can understand your expectations and your fears, so that at least there is a balance. But if he can just do that, like mainstream it, so that more children are talking about it, they're creating songs, they're creating skits, and we have a better opportunity to listen to our children than adults, you know, trying to
I see.
Push it down.
I see that. And also during the break, we were talking about how the tech companies and the site providers sort of, should we hold them more to account? Can they do more? And you're talking about, no, they actually do a lot more behind the scenes. It's just that we don't get to see it. Do you want to just talk a little bit about it?
Yes. Principal Magistrate Jackie Kibosia had a ruling some time back where a nanny was sending photos to her boyfriend of a young child she was taking care of. And to see an end-to-end process where somebody has even been taken to jail, for me is a success.
Yes.
Because then it shows, as she's saying, the law is catching up. The law is there, but how is the law being acted on? Like, we are able to see this is a case that went through the normal legal process and this person was found guilty and they're in prison.
Yeah.
So for us to even say, actually, by the kuna evidence, there's digital, of course, for the child and the parents going to court and, you know, trauma and all these kind of things, that notwithstanding, we are actually able to see that our courts are working. The police is working. And I think that's why we said we're going to put the numbers, because people need that agency.
Yes.
I always tell children, 116, put it on the fridge or behind the toilet. High traffic areas. Ndo ujue. If my mom is not here, 116, I can call it a free number, toll free, that I can actually say, even if I'm not coherent with my words, I am feeling whatever it is. Somebody is able to calm you down, ask you what's happening, take you through a process where you can say, I'm not feeling safe. And this is it. And this is not actually just for children, even adults call. But of course, it is the child helpline, so we push it more for children.
Thanks, Evelyn. Thanks. Okay, Mugambi, and then probably Sylvia will finish with you. Like, to finish, Sylvia, then. Yes. Yeah, it's a lot.
I'm sorry.
It's a lot.
I've stressed you. I'm sorry, but
yes. No, I think it's necessary. It has been this entire conversation. Again, because I can only speak from my perspective and my views. I'm always... I don't want to speak too much and take over. Just listening quite a bit. And I think that's what I would ask people to do. There is, if we're going to always approach the issue of gender-based violence the way we approach the very simple, everyday pedestrian differences between men and women that cause us to fight online, you know, play fighting, like, oh, women have too hot, you know, the showers are too hot usually, and men are this way, you know, how long it takes for a woman to prepare versus how man, you know, all of these nice, pretty harmless wars, we cannot be putting gender-based violence and speaking about it with the same voice.
I see.
We can't be having it always be us versus them.
Yes.
The comment that you read, that was very, very loud, that we had to discuss a bit. We cannot, as men, start trying to play victim by saying, oh, but you know, even men, or, you know, it's not all lives matter. It's not, we're not trying to do that with this. If we're focusing on gender-based violence and we say, why don't we focus on this and say, this is the thing that is happening. And please remember, it is not just violence against women, it's gender-based violence. Disproportionately, women are the ones who are suffering because of the biological and physiological differences between men and women. But this is something that we ought to be focusing on and put the gender wars aside. I mean, like, put that aside for just a moment and let us sit and listen. It's why, again, I say that theater is a powerful medium to do that, because it invites people to then listen to a conversation that they're not necessarily instigating themselves, where they're not the center of the conversation, where they're not the ones running the hashtags, and where we're locking out the Tates and the, I'm not saying the Kenyan manosphere people because I don't want them to come after me, but where we can actually lock the manosphere out for a little bit, for 2 hours, just so that we can listen to what the women are saying.
I like
Please,
that.
let's listen to each other.
I really like that. And also just a question to you in terms of, so there's what you put out, you know, to speak on gender-based violence and why it needs to end now, but also what is it that you want to do different moving forward so that we really amplify that voice through theater. And also the play Lishani like 2 weeks ago, right?
Yes.
But can we see
we're really trying to have it come back. Gathoni Kimuyu, the producer, the person whose real life experience was being put on the stage, is very eager to bring it back. We just need to hear from people to say that they need to see it.
We, the people, want.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Because always we want people to fight. Then I'm opening it up to the nation as well.
Yes.
Queen Gathoni, that's her Twitter handle. It's Mugambi, ITS Mugambi is mine. Reach out and say, yes, we want to see this. So that if we put a call out and say, on what, and we want to do it on this day, are you willing to buy a ticket? That people would say yes, overwhelmingly. On a personal level, I'm still working up the courage to speak courageously to men directly. Because like I said, and I'm being very vulnerable to say, women are afraid of men, yes, men are afraid of men too. because we know what they're capable of, and we know what it's like to be on the target. I mean, I suffered bullying as we went to the same primary school. Yeah, and I suffered bullying. I suffered bullying in high school. There's always something of an ident it puts on you that doesn't, like an indelible mark it puts on you. And anytime I feel like I'm on the target of a more alpha male, beat his chest, and I'll end up on a podcast being whipped. You guys know who I'm talking about. Kiboko ya nani ya Mugambi. And you have men in the comment section going all crazy. This is what keeps a lot of men out of the conversation. So I'm working up the courage now to actually speak honestly as a man and say, yo, if I'm speaking on behalf of women, doesn't make me any weaker. Because what I said earlier, they're the ones exercising more courage than we are. I'm on the more courageous side, guys.
Oh, that's really powerful. That's really, and we wish you all the very best. Really in that quest, because we need as many people joining in together to really have this conversation. Hey, it's heavy, it's a lot, but what is it that we want to see different?
For me, it's hashtag 16 days, hashtag no excuse, because if Kenya has made gender-based violence a criminal offense, who are we not to be part of that system that helps to bring criminals to book? And that can mean, as one of our leaders say, tap, tap, tap. Well, you tap, 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 tap safely. Then when you send those forwards, we do those comments, everyone can be accountable at their own level. Then let's use education spaces, and we do have even coding programs, including the African Girls Can Code. One of the programs that has brought coding solutions online. We can have many more programs that actually birth solutions to the digital safety space, including working with tech companies. And then in addition, those of us who are doing programming and we're in this gender-based violence space, ending violence against women and girls, communication around it, let's do more prevention. And I think the child protection bit that she's well covered, let's invest more in prevention, work with feminist organizations, work with women rights organizations. Today is the World Human Rights Day, because they do know where it pinches most. And guess what? They will be the best to help in terms of shaping policy when it's moving up. When it's male allyship, we have to stop this thing of men's conference. Men's conference is manosphere. It's misogyny. And if you have to go and Google what misogyny is all about, it's the wrong information that we are sending on digital spaces. And we celebrate that wrong information even within family spaces. That goes to stop somewhere.
I like that. I really like that. Okay, Sylvia, literally 1.5 minutes. Ya ukweli.
Ya ukweli, si ya Africa. No harm intended. I can do that. So I'll start with a data point. And this is again Kenya Demographic Health Survey, KDHS data. Not data we have cooked somewhere behind just to push a particular feminist or Western agenda. 7% of men between the age of 15 and 54 have experienced sexual violence at some point in their lives. But the number is double for women. It's 13%, more or less double. And when we look at again women, we find that 33% of women have experienced sexual violence before the age of 18. This is 2022 data. So first, let's put that on the table, even as we continue to say that it's women and girls who bear the brunt. Yes, men are also suffering, but you've seen the number is literally double. And this is 2022. So what are we saying? We have that data point, but what we need, despite all the data we've brought here to the table today, is we need much more data, and this requires much more investments. As we speak, with some research that we did earlier this year, mid this year, a report that we launched called the Gender Data Outlook. It's from a global report, and then we localized it for the Eastern Southern Africa region. Africa has achieved just half its gender data potential. So in some ways, some countries are actually ahead of the global average as far as availability of gender data, but many countries are far behind. But when you look at it on average, Africa has achieved just half its gender data capacity. So we need much more data. We see countries like Malawi where up to 93% of women are suffering from cyber stalking and other digital violence. 93 is an unacceptable number. And we have so much more data. So that's one thing. We need much more data to be able to attack the problem. Forgive me for using the word attack. Let me say address the problem. That's a violent word. But we need much more evidence-based policy making, decision making, advocacy, everything. It needs to be data-centric. Another thing, we need need much more global cooperation.
All right.
Yeah, have access to that tool for development, because some people are misusing it. Then people who drive badly. I mean, we live in Kenya, we won't believe at that point. But we don't say now we take away cars.
Yeah.
We need cars.
Yeah.
We need aeroplanes. They crash sometimes, but we need them.
Yeah. Okay.
So let's learn to use those tools well, but we need global cooperation for that.
Okay.
One more point, which I think is really, really, really important. Digital literacy together with mental health. Last month was mental health, men's mental health month. And we find a lot of these issues are coming about because men maybe are not emotionally regulated, not properly socialized. Maybe they're under too much pressure. We know COVID did ile kitu to very many people. So a lot of people are less economically empowered after COVID. We've had a lot of economic, climate, and other shocks in the region. I mean, if it's not war, it's a flood. If it's not a flood, it's drought. If it's not a drought, it's locusts. I mean, it's like one thing after another.
It never ends. Yeah.
So the pressure is real, and I know that can put a lot of weight on men, and you find that's why they say ukikula fair. That's when men get particularly aggravated. And there were comments we saw last time that said, do you know what that does to a man? To a man? And the person put several question marks and exclamation when you eat fair. So we need to invest in mental health.
All right. Thanks, Sylvia. Unfortunately, our time is up. I know we need like 5 hours really to have this conversation. But thank you so much for coming really today. Sylvia Minor, Regional Gender Statistics Communications Specialist from UN Women East and Southern Africa. We also had McKenna Matthew, Program Analyst, Ending Violence Against Women and Girls from UN Women East and Southern Africa. Mugambi Nthiga as well. Thank you so much. Actor, filmmaker, as well as a storyteller. And Evelyn Kasina, who's a trust and safety and child online safety professional. Also a CEO, Eve Minet Limited. Thank you so much for your time today. And really what you're saying is the conversation doesn't end here. Let's continue having that conversation online, even in our family setups, dinner table, chamas, WhatsApp groups, everywhere, okay? So that together we can end violence, and that is gender-based violence, and especially against women and girls. My name is Winnie Lumbembe. God bless. We'll see you tomorrow right here on Your World. Same time, same place. God bless. Goodbye. News is actually coming up. That's why we have to go, okay? But see you tomorrow.